Hello and welcome to Be Here Now, the Peaceful Empowerment Work Show, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. Today's topic is working with positive messaging to reset our internal goalpost with our special guest, Miss Sharon Muzio. Now, before we roll into that, I want to tell you we are coming to you live from the new streaming network.com TV, podcast, and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. If you like our content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I am your co-host, Judy Forder, and I am here with my co-host in peace, Miss
Janice Leonard. Hi, everybody. So glad to have you here. Hi. It's nice to meet you, Sharon. This is going to be great.
Nice to meet you too.
Are you going to do our 501?
Oh, I just got carried away here, just looking at Sharon dancing around. Every week, Judy and I are here, and we share our stories and how we deal with things and some tools, and we hope we can help you, and we certainly help ourselves. We try to do this in a way that is very loving and accepting, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which means you can donate to us. You can write it off on your taxes. If you can and you're able to, please just go visit us at our website, www.peacefulempowermentworks.org. And there's a donate button on the top, and there's one at the bottom.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Miss Janice. Would you like to ring us in?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth.
I love that.
I do as All right, what did we deem this last week? It's good news, Janice.
Ganogan.
Go with Janice Hogan.
Yeah, that's my maiden name.
That's good.
I used to say, go again.
I love it.
Yes. So I love the good news for today. It's a topic I think that's a little scary for us to think about as getting older and maybe getting dementia or having our loved ones with dementia. And that's what this one's about. This is a man who, I think it's a daycare center across the street. I'm not sure, but he lives across the street from a daycare center. And when they get home from school, he's sitting outside in his chair, and this is where we start.
I'm used to give all I have. I'm used to get nothing back. Wherever I go, it's the same. There's no excuses, no one to blame. Sometimes I can't understand how it can be so hard to stay out of pain. But with you, everything has changed. Even though we both stay the same. Would you call me on the midnight train? You come over when nothing's right. Would you hold me tight in the rain?
You look good. You look real good.
I've been doing something new with my hair.
Yeah.
Why you do that?
Yeah.
Well, who am I?
Yeah.
What's my name? We've been friends like a long time. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We good buddies. Where's Barbara and Jake?
I don't know, babe. I don't know.
Did you get married again? Did you
Uh-uh.
remarry?
No.
Yeah, you did. You married Shirley.
Sure.
Married Shirley.
Yeah, sure. That's right.
And how many kids did y'all have all together?
So we have kids getting off a school bus. It's probably, I don't know if there's 8 of them, and they all cross the street and run over to him sitting in the chair, and they gather all around him, and he talks to them all. He's smiling, and the neighbor comes over, and they're just loving him. And he talks to the neighbors, Megan. He's Mr. McGahee, I don't know, something like that. And I got it from Eric Stanley on Facebook, and they just love him. And it's for him, it's the first time every time. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I like the near the ending. It says, "And if you came on our street, this is what you'd see every day."
Yeah.
And
I find
somehow he knows
Yeah.
somehow to come out the time that the kids come. So he doesn't remember, he's got dementia, but he knows when it's time to go out. He doesn't know why, but he goes out.
Yeah, and he's got the dementia where his memory resets every 15 minutes. So it's amazing he remembers what time they get off the bus and when they come out to play. But the fact that he gets to meet these new kids every single day and they are so engaged with it, it just melts my heart.
Yeah.
Tell
He
you, the kids
remembers.
are our future.
And the intergenerational, I don't think that's something Sharon said something earlier too. It's the intergenerational mix too. It's how often do you encourage or see young kids interacting with a older man with dementia? It's just not something you see, and it's so wonderful. I mean, those kids are going to grow up with a great gift and understanding that most kids aren't going to have.
That's true.
Yeah, compassion, empathy. I love it so much. That's fantastic. Oh, somebody had words about that. Was that Boots?
Oh, you heard that, huh? Yeah. I'm going to have to put him up on the couch or else he gets a little restless. So if I disappear in a second, I'm putting him away.
All right. So let's roll right into our attitude is everything with weekly affirmations. Woohoo.
Yes, I was inspired again this week. I took somebody else's and tried to make it word it so that it meant something more to me. I am more powerful than my limiting beliefs. My potential is boundless. I grow stronger as I shed the false stories. I am deserving of success, worthy of abundance, and capable of achieving goals that my former self may have dismissed as unreachable.
I love that last one. I mean, I love them all, but that one, yeah.
Me too. They're good.
Yeah, it was a little more wordy. It was hard to get the concept in there without all the words, but yeah.
It states it perfectly and clearly.
Yeah.
And I think I speak for myself when I'm very much at this point of wrapping my brain around the fact that I've been working for things to happen for so long and things are starting to unfold. And now I'm finding I'm a little resistant to the abundance. I'm a little resistant to, whatever success of just getting to where I am finally. So,
Yes.
This positive messaging and the affirmations are a divine timing for me, selfishly.
Yeah, I felt like that was like, this is where I am right now. This is what I need to be part of that. And yeah, and I'm starting to, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Let's slide on into Pearls of Wisdom. Excellent. I thought this was perfect for today. Your words shape your identity, and your identity shapes your life. Start speaking what you want to grow into, even if it feels like a stretch. Even if it feels like, yeah.
I mean, even the affirmations are that, that's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. It reminded me of my brother a couple weeks ago. He listed off all these things he was going to do, and then he has a motorcycle and he wanted to go for a motorcycle ride. I'm going to, do stuff in the yard and chop this branch up and blah, 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 blah. And then if I have any energy left, I'll go for a ride. And I looked at him and I said, do the ride first. And he said, even thinking about that makes me uncomfortable. I said, why? He said, because we grew up with, you get your chores done, then you can go have fun. I said, you're a grown ass man. You can decide to do whatever the hell you want. And I'm telling you, joy first. And he's like, it just doesn't feel right. I said, I know, because that's the way we grew up. But I've been changing it, and I've been choosing joy first. And I think it's time for you to do the same.
Did he go?
He did. He did. I was like, look, now it's going to feel like your shoes are on the wrong feet. And that's okay. Work through it. And he did. He went for the ride first. And then he got up and did the same thing the next day.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
And be able to go for the ride and be present and enjoy it, as opposed to, okay, now I got to get back. I got to get the work done. If he to be present, to be here now and be able to do that. That's great.
You gave him permission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like we're all at a point where sometimes we just need to hear permission from someone.
Yeah,
Permission from someone to do things differently than how we grew up.
definitely.
Oh.
Yeah. So, all right. So now, Sharon, we get to you.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Sharon.
wait a minute. Wait.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
I almost forgot.
Oh, right. So Sharon, Ask the Wellness Woman, Sharon Muzio, RN, BS, LMT, RMT, and owner of Alta View Wellness Center. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know it's RN, is a registered nurse. What's a BS?
I have a bachelor's in science.
Perfect.
And then I'm a licensed massage therapist and a registered it should say a Reiki Master teacher. That's what RMT means.
It is. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through the bio so that you all can learn about Sharon, what we already know. Sharon has owned Alta View Wellness Center. It's been, you said 27 years?
Yeah.
Okay, we needed to update that. She has extensive bodywork experience, as well as over 25 years of critical care and rehabilitative nursing experience. She does a lot of things. She is an aromatherapist and a Reiki Master practitioner. Sharon has several certifications in specialty bodywork, including prenatal massage, deep tissue massage, reflexology, myofascial release, and Chinese cupping. Sharon has studied various movement modalities and has incorporated these techniques in her corrective myotherapy sessions. Sharon has worked with Tara for the past 10 years and offers private readings. She offers private sessions for shamanic journey to provide you with a setting to meet with the liminal guides that can aid in releasing old paradigms. Very nice. Sharon believes in the power of positive self-talk. The messages we tell ourselves are the music we live by. I love that. That should be on a shirt. She has created a positive affirmation journal and card deck to help people shift their perspective to a more empowering process of thought. Sharon works with her guides to create the affirmations that she shares. Each affirmation has the potential to create shifts that lead to a more positive internal environment. Positive self-talk is a tool for growth that can lead to deep healing. Sharon, we welcome you again.
Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for choosing to be here now with us.
It's an honor. Thank you.
So I told you, Sharon and I go back. She has been on my Journeys with Judy show. And there we get a little more into, like where were you born and raised and things like that. Today, I want to start with, at what point did you go from the Western medicine or Eastern medicine to what? Because you're a registered nurse.
Yes.
Is the energy work and body work always something you've been involved in, or was it something that came to you later in life?
So my parents, my bloodline is from Italy. My grandparents all came here from Italy. And there was always a little bit of mysticism with, like, if you don't feel well, there were things that, like, my grandma would do in addition to going to the doctor. But first they would do these things. And there were always like little old fashioned or little town or countryside treatment plans that they had for problems. So like if you got a cut or something, you didn't right away go get stitches. They would do something else first. So I kind of grew up in an environment where there was, I call it the woo-woo stuff. So it was there, but then I learned English when I went to school because I spoke Italian at home as a child. That's my first language. And then I started, of course, to assimilate into the Western culture. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, and she is 34 years old, I got a needle stick injury, which didn't amount to anything. But the hospital, Our Lady of Lourdes, where I worked as a nurse, they had a wellness center and a school for holistic studies. In fact, my friend Angie went to that school and lived in Jersey when I was there, but we didn't know each other. We met each other here in Harrisburg.
Oh, wow.
It's just interesting how, yeah. So anyway, when I got this needle stick injury, I didn't want to take the meds that were part of the protocol. The person didn't have HIV, but it was the time, you know, it was in 90, so it was scary. I got involved with the wellness center by going for Reiki. And I didn't know what Reiki was, but I was told that it was healing energy. So that was my first exposure, like, to the woo-woo stuff that was coming our way or was here, but I didn't know about it beyond my own family stuff. So I learned Reiki, and that kind of shifted my energy to want to learn more. So the next thing was aromatherapy and then eventually massage. So I sort of transitioned out of nursing over the course of a 7-year plan. It really wasn't a plan, but when I look back on it, Spirit divined the plan in my life. So that by 1998, I was actually shifted out of nursing and doing all the woo-woo stuff. So in 8 years, I shifted away from nursing, and I made the decision that even though I wasn't going to make the money and have all the benefits and all those wonderful things that now at 65 I wish I had, I was gonna take this deep dive into providing these services to other people. And so that's kind of how it all became what it became. And that's how I got to where I am now, as far as being a practitioner of Eastern things and using all those things in sessions, depending on what the person needs, having that toolbox of things that I could, dip into and use. And every session is individualized, so it depends on what the person's looking for. At this point in my practice, I pretty much have not, I've not continued to take new clients because the clients that I have are enough for me to manage through my available hours of work. But I started to focus more on creating things that I could hand off to people to help them help themselves. And that was sort of where the idea came from with the positive affirmations.
Awesome. Yeah, I just heard you're in the line of work of empowerment. Your goal is to empower people because we all understand that the person we're looking for is in here, not out there.
Yes.
And when we are able to trust that internal guidance, trust that voice, trust your gut, intuition, whatever it is you want to call it, then we can live a life guided by our intuition and our hearts. And yes. So tools.
That's so honorable.
Yeah.
Tools are important.
Yes.
And I think people enjoy having something tangible that they could work with, maybe rely upon for help in what it is that they're trying to achieve in their life.
Absolutely. So here's the question. What guided you to start an affirmation journal and affirmation deck?
So I have the answer, and it's going to sound backwards, but I'll explain it. The thing that guided me to do it was negativity. Okay. So I have, again, coming from that immigrant family, I have memories. One of the youngest memories I have is of a relative saying, "Oh, you're really full of yourself," after doing something, creating something that I was very proud of. And I was explaining, I was a very talkative child. And as I am a talkative woman. And I was explaining something that I did, and I think it came across to this person as me bragging about myself, and it was offensive to them. So the fact that they were an elder, they felt comfortable to say to me that messaging, which was, you're very full of yourself, which then told me that I have to make myself small because other people are not comfortable with my boastfulness about myself or my bigness or my presentation. And so that message has stuck with me for, I'm 65 now. So I was probably 10. So for 55 years, because I respected the person that said it in the role they played in my life. That was my mom's sister. So it was my aunt. And she was very engaged in my life because being Italian, we kind of do all the things, the weddings and funerals, but then all the holidays and all the stuff and all the enmeshment with this extended family. So what she said mattered to me, and she was someone I looked up to. But that stuck with me. In fact, when I went to nursing school, and I remember my interview, I was in high school and I wanted to go to nursing school. And I had an interview. I had several, but this particular one, I remember saying to the person that I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty, and that I knew, and I said, and now what I'm going to say is, I know everybody says, but I really do want to help people. I know it's what everybody says, but I really do, and it really means a lot to me to help other people. That makes me feel good inside. I wound up going to that program with Hahnemann, which is part of Drexel now. But when I said all that and my interview was over, my mother and father drove me to that interview, and they were sitting in a lobby outside of the College of Allied Health that was part of Hahnemann. And I remember my mom saying, how did it go? And I said, I was really nervous because I didn't want to sound like I was full of myself. And my mom was like, where did that come? What do you mean? And I said, well, it doesn't matter. But I realized how then years later, when I was interviewing for my career, which I chose because I really want to be of service to others, my aunt's message was still there. And I was fearful that someone else in authority would look at me the same way. So that's where this thing comes from. It comes from me being very cognizant of the importance that elders being family elders, but teachers, bosses, older siblings, the importance of the messaging that they have towards us as we're developing into who we're going to be. Some of those messages stay tucked inside, and they get in the way of us really being the person that we intend to be. And that message from my aunt stuck with me. Now, I fought it and went to the nursing school and became a nurse. But in life, when I would try to do something different or be creative or whatever was not really part of what I was trained to do, I always would hear her voice saying, if I did something and I was proud of it, oh, you're so full of yourself. And I would sort of not want to be that way. I didn't want people, because I thought that's what people would see. And then they either wouldn't like me or they would have a negative opinion of me. So the knowledge of negative messaging is old for me. But comparing or combining that with this is important. When you do sessions with clients and you're in an intimate relationship with them in that moment for that specific period of time, there is a big power differential. I always, when I teach ethics to massage and body workers, I always talk about this because in general, when you do body work, the person is not clothed, but you are. And the person is not standing or seated, they're lying down, but you are able to get up and walk out or walk in, and you're doing something to them. So there's a huge power differential that needs to be respected in the context of the session. When you do energy work, person's clothed, but they're still receiving from you. So there's not the disrobing that makes them more vulnerable, but it's the fact that you're doing something to them. They feel anyway. We know it's allowing energy to flow through us, and
Right.
we're not doing anything but holding space. But the importance is the impression that the patient or the client or the receiver receives. Okay. And so where I'm going with this is that on the table, I say, when the person is in that repose and a trust is built with them through the session, people start to share things about themselves and things that they've experienced. And when you're working on certain energy centers, say you're working on chakras and you're working around the solar plexus, right above the belly button area, and you're just kind of hovering, all of a sudden someone may say, or after the session may say something about someone that made them feel less than, or some packaging that came to them verbally, or just a glance from a judge, whoever that judge was, that has affected them. And that's part of why their solar plexus is not where it needs to be. It comes through in so many ways from so many people. And oftentimes when you have a post session kind of debrief with them, they say, I forgot about that incident that I said, or that person that came up in the journey, the ancestor that has passed on that came up in my journey said this to me when I was 13. And I forgot that I went through that. But you never forgot. You just, in your consciousness, suppressed it. But it is within your auric field. It's within your being that you've stored that message. Who knows where you could go or what you could have done or who you could have been if you didn't have that message stored within you all these years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
we talk a lot about acquiring survival techniques because of messaging like that.
yes.
You acquire survival technique and those things just keep building, and we forget why we built them sometimes. But
and that's what motivated me, hearing. And I think that in healthcare, as in the woo-woo stuff, I call it all the stuff we do, the woo-woo, the intangible, the nebulous, mostly our clients tend to be women more than men. I have both, but my percentages are heavier on women. And a lot of women receive negative messaging based on appearance. The little girl that's heavier than the other little girls, or someone that they really are going to need a nose job because they have their dad's nose. At some point, somebody's got to break out the bank and help this kid because they look like they need help. But aside from the reality, they've been made to feel badly about that. It's not anything to feel bad about. It's just what God gave you, right? You look like your dad. And you can change it if you want to. But people have made them feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And so over the years, as adults, when you meet that person, when we meet these people, when they meet us, the thing that happened when they were 13 or 11 or 9 or whatever, that remains with them. And that's who you're meeting. That's who they present to you. Yep. Because it's tainted who they could have been. Now, someone might say, well, it's all synchronicity. Everything is. And it should be that way. And I say, okay, I buy it. But then if the person has this messaging so deeply stuck in them that it is preventing them from succeeding or stopping them from trying something or becoming a roadblock in some way, then it is something they need to look at. They need to think about, they need to work with. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is great. We need to do a commercial.
Okay.
Okay. We are going to break for commercial and we'll be right back. and welcome back to Be Here Now, the Peaceful Empowerment Work Show. We are here with Miss Sharon Muzio, and we are talking about positive messaging to reset our internal goalpost. And Sharon, before the break, was sharing with us why she started doing these affirmation journals and decks, and how we have unconscious programming that was maybe imprinted at a very young age that was telling us we were less than, or we were too much, or we were too this, too that. And she found in her life that some of that programming was holding her back, and wanted to do something about it, not only for herself, but empower others to make the same mental and emotional shifts that she has made. So
I tell you, I just started to do the daily gratitude, and it's really helped just so much to start focusing on positive things instead of negative. And then the affirmations, I want to add that, and I do that weekly here. And that's great. I love what you're saying. Just want to say,
Thank you. I
we're
appreciate
right,
that.
So-
we're right like this.
yes, perfectly aligned.
Yes.
So at what age did you realize that this shift had to happen within you, that you weren't braggadocious and you weren't too much, you weren't full of yourself?
So when I started the wellness center, that was interesting because I was teaching here in Harrisburg at the Academy of Medical Arts. It was on Lingelstown Road. I came up here and I was teaching anatomy and kinesiology in the massage program. And I met people that I really liked and I still have a relationship with now. And one of them came with me to work. We went and we started this little place. And that person was good at what they did, but that person was afraid to do more and looked at me and made a comment about, you think you're better than everyone. And my aunt's words came back to me because I was this person's teacher and now we work together. So that power differential existed from going from a teacher to a coworker. And the person had looked up to me as a teacher, but as a coworker, I was a bit much for them. And I said, I do think highly of myself, and you should too, because you're just as valuable as I am. And she started to cry. And she was a woman who came from a Pennsylvania Dutch family here in the Lebanon area. And she was taught from a very young age to be very minimal, to not make noise, to not talk, to not brag. Anything she did that was good, no one complimented her on. So she grew up in a situation where she was very kind and loving and altruistic, which are most people that go into these fields of help. The EMTs, the firefighters, the nurses, and the woo-woos. We have that makeup of wanting to help other people. But a lot of times wanting to help other people comes because we weren't helped too. Yes. And so we had the lack of that in our own life. And so now we want to make that up in what we do and we're drawn to. So once I got her to hear me, she shifted. And we still, you know, it's interesting, like we still know each other now. And I mean, but that was the one thing that I saw. And then over time, hearing people tell me things that they were told, people repeating messaging that they were given, just seeing a pattern. That's really what it was. It was a pattern. And so the first thing that happened was to create a journal where people can work with affirmations. So now I sit and say, okay, Spirit, where's the affirmations? What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Like make a blank journal? Well, then I started to use my time, and it's important to me, I should go back a little bit, to take time to meditate every day. And I don't mean like a 4-hour sit or even a 1 hour, but when you start your day to sort of be with source and to understand that today wasn't promised to you, you know, and waking up in gratitude and thanking source, God, Jesus, Mary, whatever, deity you trust and believe in, that you're here and you're breathing. But during that time in the day, finding a time to just be with Source and allowing Source to speak to you is what I call meditation or reflection. So during that time, I started getting these messages about these different messages, which is what we're calling affirmations, but they came to me as messages. This message will help these people. And then another message would come. And then sometimes I would just sit at this computer that I'm on now and say, okay, guide me. And the message would come and I type it. So I wanted 52 messages because there's 52 weeks in a year. And that's what I asked for. And it took about 6 months for things to start to really, what I knew that phraseology was for the affirmations. It wasn't just a good phrase for me, but it was something that was going to be an affirmation. So that's where the affirmations came from. I didn't make them. I asked Source to help me. And then I asked Source to help me put them in order because my intention at the time, although now it's shifted, was to go through the year 1 week at a time with each affirmation. And depending on where we are in January and where we are in March and where we are in April and June, the affirmations are hitting different parts of the body, different chakras, different energy centers, even beyond the chakra, but the smaller centers, to try to help release blockages in the physical body and in the auric field. Because each season holds its own magic. We know this. The season of winter holds that introspection. The interesting thing with this is I was speaking with you guys earlier and said a lot of people like get rid of the journal or doing journaling or whatever intention they had when January 1st was here, their resolution or whatever they wanted to call it. And by March, it's gone. Okay. Because it's really easy to stay introspective in winter because one of the gifts of winter is introspection.
Yes.
So you can get on your journal and read your books and cozy up with a blanket and the vibe is there and got your cocoa. Maybe you put a little vodka in the cocoa, whatever works for you. And you're chilling, right? But as soon as March comes and that first crocus wakes up, you're like, I don't have time for this. Ain't nobody going to sit here. And you're out the door. You're at Lowe's, you're buying flowers, you're doing picnics, you're eating dinner outside at a restaurant. And the journal sits and collects dust until the winter comes again. I realize now that Source gave me the pattern of these, but I think the pattern is unique to each person. So my intention was then to make cards, which then you could work with on the daily or work with weekly. And that would be a whole other way of working with the affirmations. So the shift happened, even though it started one way, I think it's morphing into a different way. So I created the journal and I created the deck. And the next journal that I create will be dateless. So it's really just a place to work from. And it's not as far as the weeks of the year go. It doesn't matter because spirit will guide you and you'll jump in when you need to and work with the affirmations that are pertinent to you at the time.
Yeah. Well, we were talking before the break about permission. Sharon is giving you all permission to journal when you feel guided by spirit. Not set the intention of I'm going to journal every day and the first day I don't, I'm a piece of shit because I didn't journal today.
And it's so easy to pick up the negative message that has been stored way longer than the purchasing of a journal because that's just your go-to. And then you berate yourself, which is the very thing you're trying to change in yourself.
Exactly.
And it's so easy. It's like the negative energy, it can find its way in all the time. And a lot of times the portal is the internal voice. And so it's so easy for us to put ourselves down because we've been put down. It's so easy for us to pick up the message. And the voice in our head is no longer your aunt's voice. Now it's your own voice. And that's what I don't want to do with the journal. I don't want people to get to a place with the journal where they're like, man, I let it go in March and, boy, I wasted $25. I pick it up when you pick it up.
Yep.
Use it when you use it. On the back of the journal this year, I did say something to that effect, that you're free to begin at the beginning of the year or when you are ready to focus your energy on what you want to manifest for your highest good. Week 1 is your week 1.
Yes.
And does anybody read the back? I don't know. So I'm getting rid of week 1, week 2, week 3. I'm not going to have that. It's just going to be, the journal is going to be use as you see fit in your wellness plan for your wellness journey. Do it in conjunction with whatever works for you.
And
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Color engaging pages and prompts, and it's amazing.
If you want to show the next slide, we can see what the cards look like too.
Yeah. This, I had to share this, Sharon, because I love it. The card in there, the greeting from Sharon in the card deck. This is so Sharon, I love it. Life can be a bitch. That's Sharon.
Yep.
She's going to give it to you honest, and she does not stutter when she speaks the difficult truth. Life can be a bitch.
It can.
We need all the good juju we can muster to help us live our best life.
Perfectly said.
Isn't it? I intend these affirmations to help you every single day. And this is a crazy, chaotic, fast-paced life. And her whole goal is to hope the deck and the affirmation journal encourages you to have a daily pause. We've talked about the power of the pause. To check in with yourself and let the magic manifest for and with you. Yeah. And that sums up Sharon Muzio, the Sharon Muzio that I know right there.
That's me. I find thank you. I find a lot of people get caught up in this one. I choose to stop apologizing for being me. I feel like people get caught up in this, I'm sorry. And it's just an automatic, like when someone says, hey, Judy, how you feeling? Or hey, Judy, hi, how are you? You say, fine, how are you? You may be having like a migraine, but you pulled yourself to that location. You're not going to stand there and say, I have a migraine. How are you? You say, fine, how are you? Well, a lot of people have that automatic talk and they apologize for things constantly. You go to a restaurant, you hear it at other tables to the waitress, I'm sorry, but can I have some more water? Why are you sorry that you want more water? Because you don't feel like you're worthy enough of asking for more water. You don't want to disturb the server because you don't feel like you're good enough to serve, and it keeps going back to that message of being less than. And so you sit as an apologetic bumble constantly to the point where people start to become very dismissive of you because all you do is apologize and assume everything is because of you. So we all know someone that does that, right? But we also have all done it. we depending on the situation and what boundaries we have set in those situations, we're that person, right? If you're in the room with some high official of the state or something, you're going to be on different behavior than you're going to be when you're hanging out with your girls.
Right.
What you're saying and everything you're doing is so resonating with me. We've got like 1 minute left. So can you tell us how other people, including myself, can get hold of you and get copies of this information?
Yes. So I have a little website that I created that is called askthewellnesswoman.org. And on there has more information. The journal can be purchased through Amazon. The cards I have to mail to you, so that you would just need to contact me and you can Venmo me and I mail the cards out to you. I usually tell people Venmo me when they are received, just so I know you got them. And that's the total opposite of Amazon. The reason why the journals go through Amazon is because they print them for me. So They do an on-demand print, and then they ship them right to your home.
That's great.
And my email is avwc19@gmail.com. So you could reach me that way. And the phone number is actually the Alta View phone number. So that's okay. If you want to leave me a message there, that's fine. But the best way to reach me is definitely through email.
Okay.
Good
Outstanding. Well,
deal.
Sharon, thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you.
So glad to have you. So glad.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed speaking with both of you on the show and prior to the show. So thank you.
Thank you. And we want to thank our viewers for choosing to be here now with us. Please always remember,
You're not alone.
and don't ever forget, you are awesome. We'll see you next time.
Thanks
you.
so much for being here. And thank you, Sharon. This has been great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Silveria.